Okay, so we're going to cover section 5.5 and section 5.5. What did they call it? It's drawing conclusions from given information. That's what the title is. And from this, they want you to be able to draw and mark figures using given information. So they're just going to tell you stuff, and then you're going to mark up the figures based upon what they tell you. And then given your Rolodex of information, or your Bob, or just what you've learned so far, you're going to be able to draw conclusions about that information. So that you're going to be pulling from all the different units what you learned so far, and be able to answer questions about the figure given in front of you. Okay, so let's get going. I pulled this from the homework stuff, not the practice, but the homework. So the stuff you should be seeing is going to look similar, but not identical. And then we're going to work through this one, and then if we have time, we'll work through other similar ones, but not exactly. If you're a little bit rustling in the background, that's my daughter playing with Legos. Hopefully it's not too distracting. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to pick out some pencils, and that seems to be probably the right thing there. All right, so we have this triangle CWN, and it's with a right angle, right going through the middle, right? CRW, the right angle right in the middle. Okay, we'll put a little right angle right in the middle to show that. So we're going to explain to Josh why you cannot mark CRW just by looking at the figure. Well, can't just explain it. Can't not be assumed by diagram that it's a right triangle, right? Although it might look like a right triangle, you can't just presume that congruence inequality can be presumed just by looking at the diagram. We talked about that in detail before. Okay, just because something looks congruent or something looks equal or something looks like it's right angle, looks can be deceiving. So you can't just mark something a right triangle because it looks like it. So don't mark it up unless it looks like it. So don't assume. Go ahead and write that up here. Don't assume based on a diagram. Especially congruence and quality. Make that small enough so it fits into the 16. Yeah, that works. Okay, so there we go. All right, so now it's gonna mark the diagram given the information. Okay, so it's gonna say CR, line segment CR, line segment CR here is a perpendicular bisector of line WN. So what does a perpendicular bisector mean? Well, perpendicular mean that it does in fact mean that it is a right triangle. Yeah, that is perpendicular to line WN. And what does a bisector mean? Well, bisector, to bisect something means to like split it in half perfectly. Okay, so that means that statement told us two things, right? It told us that CR is actually told us a few more. It told us a lot of things actually. It told us that CR is perpendicular to WN. It told us that, and because it bisects it, it told us that WR is congruent to WN. Right, so that's what these little things mean. Right, so which side of the triangles CRW and NRC are congruent because of this information right there. Tells us that right there. It's WR is congruent to NR. Okay, and I also know that this angle, and this angle are congruent because they're 90 degrees. Okay, all right, so which angles are congruent because of the given information? Well, I know that, I just said that. All right, so CRN and CRW, angle CRN is congruent to angle the CRW. Okay, so I'm gonna make this one this, so it has a little, we just can distinguish between the two a little bit. So you can distinguish a little bit too. Okay. All right. So now, which side or angle of CRW and CRN because are true because of the reflexive property? Well, if you go way back, remember what the reflexive property is. It's reflexive property that something is equal to itself. So like X is equal or congruent to X. Right, so we don't know a precise value of anything, right? But the only thing that shares both triangles here is this line CR. Right, so we can say that line CR is congruent line dash line CR little double dash, and that's the reflexive property. And you're thinking, man, when would I ever use that? All right, so what using the information can I say that triangle CRW, call that triangle red, no, CRN, I'll call triangle red, and triangle blue CRW are congruent, using which congruent terms postulates you determine entities triangle are congruent. Well, I have a common side. I have two angles that are congruent. This angle here and this angle here are congruent. I identified it right here. So I have a side and then I have another side. I have this side. I have these angles that are congruent. And I have this side that are congruent between those two angles. So I have a side angle and a side that are congruent. So there you go. I have a side angle side. So that's how we did that one. Okay. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Let's see what here. Oh, no, everything. Oh, very important information. Here, now we got everything. Okay, so now this is giving us some information that's important. I have a little triangle up here, and it's telling me that I'll do this triangle green. Triangle green. Yeah, triangle. That doesn't work out great. Triangle green here. Triangle green. BHM. BHM. I'm just going to call that triangle green. Yeah, triangle green is congruent to triangle CHM. I'll call it triangle green, light green. CHM. That's triangle light green. Those are congruent. If I remember that congruent part, or yeah, if corresponding parts for that, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, right? I'm gonna mark up some stuff about these congruent parts of congruent triangles that are congruent, and this should help me out a bunch. So I'm gonna mark them up in red, and I'm gonna, so like, I know that this angle, and you can't see that at all. I know that this angle are congruent. I know that this angle, it's a double angle. I'm gonna call that angle, like, 2 or whatever. That angle is good. It's a double arc angle. Right, and I know that this angle, triple arc angle, are congruent. Okay. And then my sides are congruent here. I got this side is congruent. This side is congruent to this side. And then I have I'm gonna look at it. If a single one reflexive congruent side is equal to itself, I can fit it there. And I have this congruent to this one, and I have this congruent to this one. Cool. All right, so mark a diagram with the parts that I know about these two triangles. I did that. I'm just gonna do this. All right, so I did that. What other information do I need to know to show that BRM, let's make that one orange, BRM, that's this big one. Okay, whoa! What do I want to do with BRM? Let's make this like a little, grab this here, BRM. I should use the triangle drawing tool. BRM is going to go to CRM. It's congruent, and I'll use that like a letter. This one, I guess, is congruent to, I guess I could just use 2 triangles, to CRM. What other information do I need to know that? Okay, well, I know the side. I know this side. And I know that angle. And I know that angle. So I really need to know, well, I know the length. If I just know the length of RM, I'm set, right? Because then I can do a side, an angle, and I can do a side. Or if I knew the length of both these, RC and BM, I could do a side, an angle, and a side. But I just need to know one length. If I just want to walk that length of RM, that would be the easiest thing to do. So I want to know the length of RM. I need to. Well, information needed, and I'm going to say I want to know is RM is RM, actually I don't even need to know the length. I just need to know is RM congruent to RM. Is it congruent to itself? Well, of course it is. Yes, I do need to know it is congruent to itself, right? Yes, it is. Is it? Because the reflexive property says it is. Reflexive. The property says so. Reflexive property of congruence could be more specific. Okay, reflection property of congruence says so. All right, so then it has more information for me. I'm gonna pick blue. I haven't used blue yet. I have BMH. So I have B, M, H. I already have that one marked. It's congruent to CMH. We already said that. And then BM is congruent to CM. We already said that. Well, yeah, we already marked all this already. I kind of already said all this stuff because of the corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So we can say that BRM, and CRM are congruent because I have a side. I have, let's see, I'm gonna mark my sides here. I have this side, I have this side, and this side. I have this angle and this angle are congruent. And then I have this side here that is common and congruent with each other. So I have a side, an angle, and a side. And I can say that it is, therefore, they're congruent by side, angle, side, angle, side, and congruence. Again, that was boring. I was hoping to have it be something different. Yeah, let's see if I can. How long have I been rolling so far? Maybe I can do one more. Let's see if I can pull up something interesting. That's from somewhere. No, that's not interesting. That's my email. I'll close that. Let's see. That's the homework I just had up. I don't need that. Slide it over here so you guys don't see what I'm gonna pause this so you guys aren't bored while I'm looking for something.
Daddy.
Speedy Pie. Oh, that's so cool.
So this is a friend for him that helps him. So in here, and Daddy, this is Daddy. This is a fish jumping. So this fish is jumping, Daddy.
Holy mo! Oh, that's, I like it. I like how you have the blue coming out of the water like that. That's so cool.
They put fish tips. And Dad, and I also found this, a little thing that helps you go swoosh. And
That is so cool. That is so cool.
They hop back in their boat. Then the other birds goes to get the strawberries, so they jumps and grab their strawberries and eats them.
That is so cool.
And it's a man. And Dad, do you know who's this man? You.
That was me?
Yeah, because he has a stupid eye.
That is so cool.
But I can't find the white goggles for him.
It's a scuba man, remember?
Found the camera. This can be an underwater camera.
Okay, I'm pushing record again, okay?
drop it.
Well, it seems like I accidentally pushed the wrong button, and you guys heard a whole conversation with my daughter. So I'm just gonna call tonight. You guys have a wonderful day.